everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Leonidas Triple G, this time with a Warframe video. And in this video, I'll be talking about something that I've been wanting to talk about for a long time, which is focus schools. Now, focus schools are obtained in Warframe after you've completed the second dream, where you get your operator, and after you completed the War Within. Now, in the War Within is where you unlock one focus school. There are 5 of them to unlock, each with a bunch of nodes. To unlock all these nodes, I recommend you go to Elite Sanctuary Onslaught, where everybody goes. That's like the mission to get it. Now, since they've been implemented, focus schools have pretty much been dead. I mean, they reworked somehow the way you get focus. You get more focus now than you did before. It's not tied to mastery rank or anything like that. It just it just turns your affinity or your experience into focus to open up the schools and open up the nodes. At the beginning, it was really hard to get just one node or just three unlocked, but now it's a lot easier. But once you unlock everything, the system pretty much dies out. You don't have anything more to do. You continue to gain focus, but you don't really do anything with it. So I was thinking about the future of these schools. Now, just to be clear, there are 5 schools. There's Varazirine School, which deals with the operator health. There's Unido, which deals with the armor and the blast. There's Madurai, which deals with the amp. There's the Naramon that deals with speed, and there's Zeneric that deals with energy. Now, all of these are operator Warframe / Warframe related, but the good thing is, once you unlock everything for the operator from all the trees, they become available no matter what tree you're using, no matter what focus school you're using. But that again is only on the operator side. Only when you unlock the operator's abilities, it only works for them. Now, it's a bit of a problem because the tree itself is composed of 5 branches. There's the center branch, which is the main branch, which has an ability and a passive. There's the operator branch. That branch is, once you unlock it, you can also unlock for every other school. Once you have that ability, it unlocks for all the other schools. There's the void branch. Now, the void branch is when you go into invisibility mode with your operator. There's different perks depending on which focus schools you're using. There's the dash branch, which is when you do a dash, what abilities you unlock or what you do. And there's the blast branch, which is when you use your shot or your in this case, in the beginning you have like a beam, but then further ahead you have with your amps you have a proper shot. But it's those 5 branches. Now, I won't be talking about the operator branch because, as you know, that unlocks for everything, but I'll be talking about the other ones. Now, for the other ones, I would like very much that in the future each branch should be customized. I mean, it could be customized node by node, but because many of the abilities in those branches work in tandem, which is the first node that you unlock has an effect on the second one, I will just go first into branches. Now, if I could customize my own tree, this would be the setup I would use. Now, for the center branch, I would use one of these 3, which are the best in my opinion. So there's Unido, which has like a center ability, the Void Spike, which gives you 100% damage return on your enemy, and Stone Skin, which gives your Warframe an armor of plus 60%, which is really good for defense missions or survival or high endurance missions. I use it on Limbo because Limbo, even with a rework, which his armor is it's much better than it was, is still kind of squishy, so I use United on him. Also, he doesn't have any problem with energy, so I don't need to use anything else. I would use the center branch also as Madurai because, as we all know, Madurai gives you, at the center point, Phoenix Talons gives you 25% physical damage, and its passive, Phoenix Spirit, gives you 25% elemental damage. Now, this is, of course, one of the best schools. It is most used against the of course, the Eidolons, but, you can also use it on other missions where you have to do high DPS or maybe other boss fights and something like that. The third school would be Naramon. Now, Naramon is a particular effect on melee weapons, which is the center node gives you an affinity boost of 45% on melee kills, and as a passive, he has power spike, which gives you a slower no. Your combo meter doesn't stop. Instead of once as you know, the combo meter after you stop hitting the enemies for a while, it just disappears. This way, the combo meter just decays a little bit, and that's really good, especially if you're playing with Equinox in Senna 2 rank up. As you've seen, the center node is not Zenith. Because, let's face it, 99% of the people use Zeneric as their go-to focus school, or if it's not there first, it's the one they want to unlock, because it's the only one that gives you energy dash. Now, the energy dash creates a pool where by yoking it, you get energy, and of course, you want that energy as many times as high as you can, so you can inflict damage as high as you can. I think this really, skews the playability and skews the schools a lot. I wish Digital Extreme did something to it like they did with Itzal, which is they took an ability of one Arcwing and just spread it around all the others. I mean, I won't get into the debate if it's good or bad, or if it should have a bigger cooldown or more range, but I'm glad they did it. They looked at something that everybody was using and decided to put it to spread it out all through all the Arcwings. I think they should do the same with Energizing Dash. They should have somehow a way that every school has this Energizing Dash. If they don't create something like that, then of course customize your own tree would be the way to go. And that is why, leaving the center tree, I will go to the dash branch. Going for the dash branch, I would of course pick Zeneric because it has energizing dash. It also has lightning dash at the end of there's the last node, which releases a ball of lightning that does 800 damage during 16 meters. But I don't really use it a lot. I don't like it to do damage because then it alerts enemies, and sometimes I'm playing with Loki just to get energy. And that thing starts going off alarms because of it. So yeah, I have that turned off. But it is the best branch when it comes to dashes because of Energizing Dash. Now, when it comes for branches of Void Mode, I would go with Madurai. Why? Well, because of the Void Strike. Void Strike, essentially what happens is the longer you stay cloaked, once you come out, you have 8 attacks that will increase by 12% for each second that you are cloaked. This is like one of those examples, like I said, where both of the nodes of the branch work in tandem. One works with the other. I don't really like the first one, which is Void Radiance, that just blinds enemies. But, in some occasions it might be good. The last branch I'll talk about is the branch about Blast. And in it, I would put, of course, Unido. Why, you ask? Well, because it has Unido Wisp. Unido Wisp is something that is used a lot against Ions. It is with each blast, you can get a Wisp, and if you grab that Wisp, you have 100% more damage for 12 seconds. Extremely, extremely useful. Unfortunately, it has a downside, which is it only works for the operator. Unlike Madurai, where you get cloaked and then you come out, it also works on your Warframe. Again, this works in tandem with another node, which is Magnetic Blast. Magnetic Blast essentially just creates like a mag kind of thing around the enemies. Yeah, it's not the worst of abilities, but it could be changed. Now, this is what I mean about customizing your own tree. Through branches would be, the center tree would be, I mean, in my opinion, I wouldn't use Natamon because it has only melee attacks, but I'll probably go for Unido or Madurai because Madurai gives you a boost in damage and Unido gives you a boost in defense, depending on which mission. In branches, I would go for Dash, the Dash branch with Zeneric because it has an energizing dash. For Void Mode, I would go with Madurai because it has Void Strike. And for Blast, I'll go with Unido because of Unido Wisp. Now, if I could customize it node by node, instead of being a full branch, I could customize it node by node. The first thing I would do is change in the Dash branch, which is that Zeneric. I will change the last node to Meteoric Dash, which is from Madurai, which gives you a 400 extra damage on your dash, which means by dashing through enemies you get 400 damage. because we're all want to do the as much time as we want. So I think it'll be the most useful there. On the other ones, void mode, I would change the first node from Madurai to either Naramon or Zeneric. Now, Naramon has Void Stalker, which gives you an increase in 50% chance for which increases to 50% chance for 5 seconds, and it decays in 20 seconds. Now, this is tied up to melee and to attacks, but it also affects weapons. It doesn't only affect melee. So if you have this and you're going to cloak mode, you wait 5 seconds, you get 50% more chance, and then just start blasting everything. That's really, really cool. The other one would be from Zeneric Void Pulse. Void Pulse essentially does a pulse, like the name says, that gives 500 damage for 15 meters. It's good because you can be cloaked and then use the Void Strike. For instance, you can just group enemies up, go into Void mode, give them damage, and then come out and give them those 8 attacks with the buff of damage. So I think these two will probably be the ones that I will put in the first node for the Void mode. Now, lastly, for Blast, I would change the first node from Onaido to Zeneric, which has Temporal Blast that gives you. It essentially just slows down enemies by 80% for 15 seconds. It's really useful to slow down enemies because Disruption Amalgam, or one of those, those guys that come out and explode, it does have. I can see purpose for it. Others, I cannot. Now, there will be either that or Flame Blast, which is from Madurai. Essentially, it's like a Hadouken. It fires a ball of fire that gives 250% damage and explodes after 6 seconds. Now, it explodes really fast, but it also increases damage a lot. And of course, this game is all about destruction and damage, so those will be my choices. Of course, there are many other choices that you do. You can customize this tree completely different, completely to your personal taste. And I would like to hear what would you choose. So please put it down in the comment section. What do you change? What branches you would use for dash, void? What nodes would you use for dash, void, and blast? And even the center one, I go for these three. Maybe you have other combination. I mean, there's a million combinations that you could do for this. And I think that this would be a really good idea to bring to focus in focus schools. Now, speaking also of its future, why would you do this? I mean, why would you have this customization of your focus tree? Because right now you really don't do anything with it. I mean, besides fighting the island, which is the mode of the mission where you most use your operator and the school has more, and the focus schools have more relevance, you really don't have it. Most of the times you just put out the operator, you can do it energizing dash, maybe you do a blast to kill one of those glass maker things, and you go right back in. Also, with the coming of arcanes and more operator arcanes, many of the abilities that the operator had here, which is the regen of health and regen of armor and everything, it's much better now with the arcanes. If you use the arcanes, it's much simpler to use, much faster to use. You don't have to grind for the focus to unlock the node. So I don't really see a purpose for a lot of photo school or even customization unless they created, operator specific or focus specific missions. Now, some ideas have been floating around in the forums and on the community. One of them, of course, is raids. I don't like raids. I personally don't like raids. I like the cooperation side of it, but as they were designed, it wasn't really the best for Warframe. And I'm not sad they're gone. They could come back. I'll be okay if they come back on a different design or better than they were. So that's one of the ideas. You have to do raids, and every Warframe has to have a different school or has to customize the school because your operator has a lot more used on them. Another one was Conclave, but Conclave is pretty much dead no matter what they do with it. Some people said, because you have Lunardo, and Lunardo had like two schools, the moon and the sun, maybe you could have also like this with the focus schools. You could have a competitive something, maybe a PvP or maybe a competitive match. Maybe something like Gambit. I know people hate Gambit also on Destiny, but it's just an idea. I'm just throwing it out there. So you have to fight for each school, and each school then would give a reward and give you something better. Another one, like I said before, was operator-related missions. nodes in like they did with Railjack and like they did with the open worlds. It be specific nodes where you only use the operator or rooms. Now, I've suggested this before in the forums, which is the void rooms. Where you get where you have to bring the dragon keys and open them. Those keys could also open maybe a room for the operator. Now, all of these things that I'm talking about, the operation missions and operator rooms, might come with the Deviri paradox. The Deviri paradox shows an operator which is an adult. Now, in the lore, for those people who go dynamiting these things, apparently that shouldn't happen because the operators shouldn't grow old. There should always be children. I don't know if that's accurate. I don't. I don't know if it's right or wrong. I think they should grow old and maybe use another one. I don't know, but either way, I sure hoped maybe the very paradox has and probably will have a much more how can I say, operator focus operator focus story, and so the focus schools may have a rework by then. Of course, I don't think they're just gonna okay, you can customize and use what you have. I don't think they'll do that. They'll just bring up some items, something that you have to put in the game to grind for. I'm pretty much sure they'll do that. I hope they don't. I really wish they didn't, but that might happen. So yeah, I think focus schools deserve more attention than they have, and I think the operator itself should have more. Maybe it'll come in 2021 with the very paradox. I certainly hope so. Customizing focus school for yourself or focus tree for yourself is like one of those #1 requests people talk about when they talk about focus school. I don't know if they have any ideas or better ideas or other ideas. If you do, please leave it in the comment section. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please like and subscribe. And as always, have a great game, guys.